Okay, everybody, now, we're going to be fixing my log splitter. I showed you what happened on that a couple weeks ago, I think, and I'll put it on the screen now, but the valve mounting plate broke off on that thing, so I want to go ahead and get this thing handled, if you know what I mean, get it handled. It's a little play on words there. So I got the part in, and if you can see it here, it came in silver, so the most time-consuming part of this whole repair is going to be to paint this thing. Now I have some black spray paint. This is high heat engine spray paint. Excuse me. And I think these things are glossy. This one here appears to be glossy. So anyways though, I have some clear coat and I have some spray paint. I think this one might be glossy. This one appears to be matte black finish. So I brought some clear coat in case I need to shine it up a little bit. I might clear coat it either way just because I don't really have primer or anything to build this thing up, and this spray paint is so thin that the clear coat will probably add an extra layer of protection. So I might go ahead and just use the flat matte black and then shoot it with the clear coat. But let's get going on that, and this is going to be the most time-consuming part because I got to shoot it black, get it all both sides, and then let it dry, then do another coat of clear coat and let it dry, and then I can finally go out and put it on the darn log splitter. That's going to take me about 10 minutes. So let me get going on painting it. I'll probably just show you what it looks like when we're done, so stick in there. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. This log splitter repair is a kind of a unique repair, a unique situation. Hopefully it doesn't happen to me again in the future. I'm going to have to be careful. So if you're coming to this video because you search for log splitter valve repair, this is going to be a real unique one. It's the end cap that broke off. And I'm going to have to start watching that in the future. I'll talk about it when we move up here to the log splitter and start repairing it. But when those logs come back, that valve sits right behind there. So you know, if you go split a truckload of wood several times, 4 or 5 times during that session, you're going to use the log stops that are on the, I'll show them to you, but when you're backing up a log, when the wedge gets stuck in a piece of wood and it's backing up and it's stuck in there, those log stops push the wood off so the wedge can back off and get a, well, right behind the log stops is the valve now. So if you have a big crotchy piece or some irregular pieces or whatever, and when you push that thing, the wood also will shift and kind of push up on you sometimes. So when it backs up, it'll be sticking up at a 45 sometimes. I'm going to have to be real careful because that valve and handle is right behind the log stops. So I'm going to have to stop and bang it off with a maul or axe or sledgehammer or whatever or something, and just watch that in the future. So I'll show you that when we move upstairs. Sorry, I'm rambling on. Let me get this thing painted black. I'm just going to shoot a little paint both sides. I might dry it with a heat gun and then we'll put it on. Okay, so I had a little change of plans. I just tried to open up that can of flat black and I couldn't get the lid off. It was stuck, and when it popped off, the tip of the spray can broke off. And it broke off the little suction straw that goes down in, and the little straw that sticks up that the top pops on. It broke the intake straw off of it, so that is now a wasted can of paint. Kind of a pain in the butt, but anyway, so my plan is I'm going to just use a coat hanger and hang this thing up and just spray this thing both sides like this with my black paint here, so I can get the front and back. But I'm going to wipe it down with a little bit of rubbing alcohol to try to kind of make sure there's no grease or anything. I've already got grease on my hands from touching these spray cans. So I got rubbing alcohol as all I have as a solvent. Alright, I got this thing all cleaned up, and let me just show you a close-up of what it looks like when it comes in. I didn't know it would come in unpainted, but that's what it looks like, and it's unfinished, and I don't know if that will rust or what over time, so I'm going to go ahead, paint it black so it matches the machine. It actually sits like that down in there, and that's your little handle mounting bracket right here. So let me get this thing painted. Okay, everybody, I got this thing painted the first coat here. I missed a little spot right on the back. I'll touch that up. And this is how I did it. I hung it on a clothes hanger. And there's our first coat of black. So let me touch it up here with this little piece in the back. I'll show that. Just I can do that inside. I held it outside the back door, and it's like 12 degrees today, and I just kind of hit it real quick, and then I can touch it up inside on a little cardboard box. Just quick little pss, 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 you know, just kind of little spritz on there now. So let me touch that up where I missed a little spot there, and then we'll put some clear coat on it just so it has a nice thick hard shell of protection, and we'll get to going on this thing and get it on the machine finally now. All right, so here we go. This is all it takes to paint this thing, if you were wondering, just to show a little bit of the action here. Just shoot some paint on there. Okay. And then I'm using the heat gun to kind of speed up the drying a little bit here. And like I said, this is the worst part of the whole deal. I mean, I got to let this paint dry before I can really work with it. I mean, that's going to take 30 minutes or so just to make sure I get this thing dry, because it's still tacky even after I hit it with the heat gun. But it is what it is. I'll get this done and maybe eat some food or something, and then come back and finish it up. All right, I'm gonna sign off. I'm gonna let this thing dry for a minute, then I'm gonna hit it with some of this clear coat, and just like I said, that'll give it a nice solid shell of protection. So this little thin spray paint, if it gets scratched, it might come flaking off of there and everything. So I'm gonna hit it with some clear coat, and I'll show you the finished product obviously when we're done. We're gonna move out to the log splitter. We'll be right out there next. Okay, now everybody, I got that thing painted. It's just hanging up here dry, and it's going to take at least half an hour or so. There's a lot of paint on that. I got several layers because whatever, I had to put a couple coats on it. Then I found spots that I missed, and I hit it again. Then I hit it with clear coat. So there's a pretty good amount of paint on that thing, and I'm just going to let it sit there and hang for about, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes at least, because it's tacky right now. I can't handle it. So in order to put that thing on the machine, I'm going to have to let it dry up, get real hard, and then we'll be right out at the log splitter. All right, now we're out here at the log splitter, and I just got to remove this little part here. I think I'm just going to go ahead and take it off, and well, I got to take the handle off. I got to take the handle off too. All right. That was a little bit of a mess there. Okay, I was just looking at this thing. The handle is going to have to come off, but it's on a part that's already broken anyways. So let me see how I want to do this now. Yeah, I got to take the handle off. So let me remove this little cotter pin and take the handle off first. I don't want to lose that. All right, there's our cotter pin. Put that right there. And remove that. All right, there's our handle. Now I'm gonna have to deal with this linkage here and replace that linkage. So I guess I'll need a screwdriver or something to pop that out of there. And this is just as easy as removing these two little screws here. So now I might go ahead and try to weld this old one just so I have a spare part if it ever happens again. But since I have the brand new warranty part, there's no sense in welding it and putting a damaged one back on there. So I'll probably weld this just one day when I get some free time now, you know what I'm saying? So you see how that broke off right there, and it's in two parts. I can put that other one up there and grind that paint off of there and put a few little welds on it and try to save it as a backup. So I might do that one day, but now I need to just figure out how to get this linkage off of here. And excuse me, but I haven't done this before, so you can see how that comes together right here. I'm gonna have to just take these pins out and swap over this linkage, pull this pin out of here and swap that over. So let me go get a screwdriver or something and figure out how to take that linkage off of here. 1 second, please. Okay, I want to give a little information on removing these chain links. Okay, if I can get this to focus. Now you can see this little top plate, it slides around this pin and it slides into that little groove right there. If you can see that, how it has a, I can't get this thing. If you see how there's a little groove on that pin there. So when you slide this plate off, I used a screwdriver just to pop it up. You wanna pop that thing out and up. If you just push it to the side, it won't really work. I hope what I'm saying makes sense. I'm trying to get this thing to focus at the same time, and it's not wanting to focus. But so when you're taking this link off, you want to use your screwdriver and kind of push it up that way, and get it to come up off of that groove, and then the other side up. Because if you just push it to the side and down, then this pin has to slide out going down that way, and this will go right back into the groove again and lock back in, if you know what I'm saying. So when you take that thing off, pry it up on one side and then up on the other side, and then you can take that and just use your screwdriver and kind of push it back that way, and it'll come right off. So I got this thing back together. I just got to put this little plate back on, and then we're going to be putting it back on the machine real soon. I've got this thing put back together here. You can see the links I got on, and like I said, you can see what I'm saying. You want to pry this thing up to get it off. If you push it down under that lip, you got to slide that pin out and it'll come. So you want to push it up and get it off of that groove, and then you can slide your pin out of there and push that out of the way and everything. So you know what I'm saying there. I got it all back together, got it painted and everything. And I got the camera just kind of in a good spot, so all you got to do is put this thing back on and put the bolts back in it. So let's get that going. I'm going to use the new bolts because the paint has come off of these a little bit. The old bolts are, you can see the paint is chipped off. There's a little bit of rust on them. So I'm going to just go ahead and put the brand new bolts in that came with this thing and save the old ones. And then we got to just put that cotter pin back in the into the handle, and we'll be off to the races. Back in action, so they say. Alrighty. And now that paint has had about 2 hours to cure. It'll probably be good enough. It might stick together a little bit there on the back side, but I'm sick of waiting. I just want to get it done. All right, that's pretty snug on there. And that's going to be about it. All I got to do now is reattach my handle and put the cotter pin in, which that's not lining up. Okay. I didn't bring my screwdriver out here. There we go. I need to just kind of twist that a little bit. Alrighty. So we get the pin in here, and we put our cotter pin back in, and that is a job pretty much. We're getting real close to it being done here, if you know what I mean. There's our cotter pin. And now we just need to secure that somehow. All right. So there's our cotter pin. All right, there we go. Now, we're back in action. Okay, everybody, I hope you enjoyed that little video. It is something. It might help somebody someday with something. Maybe help you get that link off of your valve if you ever need to, your handle. It's very easy repair. So we're back in action now, and I just wanted to explain what I was talking about. What I think might have happened is these are what I'm calling the log stops. So when your wedge comes out and gets stuck in a piece of wood, I mean, you get all kinds of crotchy wood, and when it gets under pressure, sometimes that log will like lift up on you. It'll push it, and you know, the log will move under pressure and kind of push up, and then your wedge gets stuck in. Well, that's the purpose of these log stops. So when your wedge is coming back, it dislodges and pushes that log out, and you get out of your wood, right? Well, right behind your log stops is your valve. And I know that's kind of hard to see. The lighting's not great in here. I'm working on that. But so if you get a piece of wood in this wedge, and it's a big crotchy piece with two things coming out or something, when it comes back, if it's at a 45 and comes up over these log stops, you're right into your valve right here. And I think that's what happened is a log came and hit this handle, and it broke off this mounting bracket here. So I hope that makes sense. I think anybody who has a brain bigger than a pea would understand what I'm saying. You got your log stops, and then you got your handle, and there's three fingers in between that now. So, well, there's three fingers in between the back of your wedge and your valve. So what can happen also is wood can come and if you get in a big stringy piece of wood, and you know your round's way out here, and say it's elm or something, when this wedge is 7 inches, so if it splits it open and there's all kinds of strings in the middle going back and forth, they can hook around the back of this wedge, and then as that wedge backs up, it's dragging the log backwards, and you think your log stops are going to get it, but it's hooked onto this wedge, and it pulls it right into your valve right here. It's not very far with your three fingers. So I mean, it doesn't take a very big round to come and hit that handle. I'm gonna have to be very careful about that in the future. I mean, if I see that it's happening and I got a big round, I'm gonna have to use a sledgehammer and stop the wedge, stop it out here and hit it with a sledgehammer and try to knock it off. And it's just the way it is. I'm gonna have to be careful with that. I think that makes sense. You should know what I'm talking about. The valve is right in the way, and these log stops I mean, it happens all the time. You use these stops to push the wedge, to get the wedge out of the wood when it's stuck in there. So that's something that's very common. It happens, I mean, it's part of splitting wood, so it happens every time you split wood. And if you got a big one, you got to be careful. So anyways, that's going to be the video today. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. Hope maybe that'll help somebody that's doing an assembly or something someday. That's all I got for you. See you next time. Moving right along now, I got a few extras in the video for you guys today. This is the little snowstorm we had here. We got about 3 or 4 inches of snow, and it just looks really pretty out here. So I thought I'd show some footage of me driving around in the snow, just looking at the trees and things like that. And I think there was a little baby deer up there in that photo, actually, if you went back and looked real closely. But the log splitter, it was a good day to get that done on a nice cold snow day. It didn't really cost me much time. That's why I did not sell my Power Connects. There's that deer now. I didn't sell the Power Connects. That's just a little baby deer. I saved that other log splitter in case I needed a backup, and it already happened. It already broke. So here's that delivery that I made. I was out driving around. I delivered 2 ricks of wood. And next coming up, we're going to just show you the box turtle that I found. You may have seen the shard I did on that, but we're going to talk about that turtle now. Okay, I just wanted to share this little turtle with you guys. It's extremely cold outside right now. You can see the ice on that little guy's shell right there. He is frozen. That is a turtle popsicle. I'm not even sure if he's alive. It's kind of making me sad, but the deal is I was loading some wood yesterday actually, and it's been very cold. It's been 12 degrees, 15 degrees, and there's snow on the ground now. And I was just loading wood, and I looked down, and this little turtle had tumbled out of the wood pile somewhere. He was up in there, and he was just kind of wedged down in some wood and in the pallets down there. And you know, yesterday I kind of thought, well, I guess I'll leave Mother Nature alone. They seem to make it on their own somehow or another without human intervention. And so I kind of just tucked them up underneath the wood pile, and I put the tarp over it to keep the wind off of them. And he has not moved in a day. It's been at least 24 hours. So I was out there loading wood again, and I checked on him, and he's just a frozen little dude. So I just feel really bad, and I brought him inside. I put him in a bucket, and I'm going to thaw him out here for a few days and see what happens. You know, I feel bad. He's just a juvenile. It's hard to tell how big he is, but he's not a real big box turtle. Just like I said, a juvenile now. And so I'm going to give him a couple days, see if he comes out of his shell. But I mean, he is frozen. I know their heartbeat slows down and their metabolism and all that, but I mean, they're cold-blooded. So he is the temperature of what it is outside, and he is solid ice right now. So he may not even be alive. I don't think he knows what he's doing. He's just a youngin'. So I'll give you an update here in a couple days. I brought him in the basement, and if he comes alive, what I'll do is I'll give him some lettuce and some water or something, and just try to keep him alive for a week or so until this cold weather goes. And then I will, when we get a warm day, I'll take him out and put him somewhere outside in the wood pile, and he can try to find a new little wintering spot. I don't know, but you know, I can't keep him forever, but I'll let him warm up, see what he does. Give me a couple days, and we'll give you an update on the turtle, see if he thaws out. Okay, everybody, I want to give an update on this turtle. I learned a few things. I did some research on box turtles, and a couple things here. One, it's not good to feed him, so I'm not going to feed him if he wakes up. When box turtles go into their little hibernation dormancy period, they kind of fast before that because their metabolism gets so slow that if they eat a bunch of food and pack it in, their digestive system doesn't digest it, so it can actually sit in their bodies and begin to rot throughout the wintertime because they aren't digesting it. Their metabolism slows down so low. So I don't want to feed them and load them up with a bunch of lettuce and stuff and then put him back outside. If he has to go back dormant again for a few weeks and that food rots in him, it can really cause problems. The other thing that I learned is that box turtles are one of the few turtles that can actually survive being completely frozen. Apparently, their bodies produce some type of natural antifreeze that it prevents their organs from freezing when they go dormant like that. So it's a chemical that their body produces, and yeah, it keeps them from freezing. It's almost like an antifreeze. So they wake up within a matter of hours when it gets warm and start walking around and apparently live right through this. So what I did, I brought them in the garage. It's above freezing in the garage. It's like 35 degrees or so. So it's not so drastic of coming right into the 65 degrees. And plus, he kind of needs to stay dormant for a while because we're going to have a cold snap for the next 10 days down in the single digits. So I don't want him to wake up and be walking around and have to care for him and everything. You know what I mean? So it's kind of good if he just kind of hangs out in the garage in the 35 degrees for a little while. And then when we get some warm weather, I'll take him out in the woods when he wakes up and put him out in some sticks and leaves and things, and let him kind of put him in a nice area where he can have some cover if he needs to get back in there and get protected from the cold. So that's the deal with the turtle. He's in the garage thawing out.